Well, what's going on, guys? It's YoTreezzy back with another video. But in today's video, we're going to switch up a bit. As you can see by the title of today's video, this is an analysis on Takemichi Hanagaki from the anime and manga Tokyo Revengers. Before we start, I want to shout out a few people that told me to read this amazing gas top 3 manga of all time. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, before that, I want to shout out a few people. The first guy I'm going to shout out is the one and only, the big homie Sensei Ink himself. And the second one is Eden's Blue. Check out both these guys' channels if you haven't already. They will be on my channel's page and also a link in the description. Wait. Hold on. Before I get into this character analysis for the one and only Takemichi Hanagaki, why haven't you subscribed yet? Why haven't you liked and commented either? I'ma wait. Alright, are you done? Have you done everything I asked? Come on, help support the channel. Help me out. We trying to push for the big 300 before the end of this month. Well, not this month, but the year. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Alright, let's get straight into the video. Takemichi Hanagaki, or called Takemichi by his closest friends. Takemichi is the main character of Tokyo Revengers. He is also the epitome of an underdog, but unlike other underdogs in anime and manga, he doesn't get overpowered and way stronger than everybody else 3 arcs into the story. He stays weak and might stay weak for the rest of the story, if I'm being honest with you guys. Now I know that fact might drive some people away from the story. If it does, well, it really shouldn't. It's kind of stupid in my opinion, but you know. But if you are one of these people, don't click off the video yet. Please stay and let me try to convince you that 1, Takemichi is a great character, and 2, that this story is worth reading or watching, or just watching it happen unfold as we are right now. We first see Takemichi Hanagaki as an adult laying down in a small, run-down, dirty, trash-filled apartment in Tokyo, Japan, watching the news. On the TV screen, we see a news report of a gang-related incident. As the reporter says the names of the people that died in that incident, one name stands out to our main character. Who is he, you may ask? Well, it's Hina Tachibana. He recognizes this name from his childhood. It was his childhood crush and girlfriend. On his way home from work that very same day, he is waiting on the train thinking about Tachibana Hinata and how she was really his only girlfriend in his whole 26 years of living. But while that is happening, suddenly someone comes up behind him and pushes him onto the tracks. This is what he thinks are the last moment of his life. But after getting pushed onto the tracks, Takemichi doesn't die. Instead, he gets thrown 12 years to the day into the past. When he first gets to the past, he thinks this is just life flashing before his eyes, like we all do. We think life flashes before our eyes before we get sent to wherever we go before we die. Well, at least that's the common beliefs. He is thrown into a very similar situation as the one where he was pushed off the train. In fact, the exact moment that he was thrown into was him and his middle school friends about to walk off a train. At the beginning of the story, Takemichi was weak-minded and also a physically weak person. We see that because as an adult, he's very skinny. He's not providing for himself. He is working these low-paying jobs, just apologizing to everybody. We also see that later in the story about how he's just a sorry individual as a whole later on in his life. Takemichi also says that he gets it. I get it, God. My life was shit. This shows exactly how mentally weak he truly was at the beginning of the story. As the story goes on, Takemichi meets people that have helped him evolve as a person and become stronger both physically and mentally. We see this in his fight with Kiyomasa. Takemichi would normally never take on this fight. He would normally say sorry and bow down to him. But the determination from seeing Hina's death made him realize that he had to sort of man up and take this opportunity to change the future in his own hands. Even though he was clearly losing in this fight, he never gave up. And it took the GOAT, the best character, number 1 character in the whole story, Mikey, to step in and stop him. Flashing forward to the next arc in the story, the Mobius Arc. Now, what did Takemichi do in this arc? Well, at the beginning, Takemichi finds out that Draken would die in the conflict with this rival gang. With this knowledge, Takemichi goes back to the past and tries to stop this event from happening. Using a very trash and admittedly bad strategy, Takemichi stops Draken from being stabbed. But in the aftermath of this incident, he has to try and carry Draken to a hospital, but they get stopped by Osanan, the guy who killed Draken in the original timeline during this incident, and the guy who stabbed him in this current one, which was also in the same incident. With Draken being stabbed and injured, he is in no condition to fight. Takemichi had to take charge of fighting like he had basically no chance of beating. Despite that fact and the clear size and strength and technique advantage, and the fact that Osanan had a knife on him, Takemichi squared up and fought Osanan. In the most scrappy fight in the whole series, Takemichi ends up beating Osanan by choking him out. This is a big moment for Takemichi. It was the first time that he actively made a change in the past that he knew would affect the future. Now, moving on to the next arc, Valhalla. Wait a minute, y'all. Before I go on to this next arc, I want to know these are big story spoilers for what I think and some people around me think are the best arc in the story. All right, there's your warning. Leave now. Give y'all 5 seconds. All right, I'm hopping straight into it. After going back forward in time after the Mobius arc, Takemichi isn't, how you say, happy with the results. He finds out that Toman is still being corrupted by Tadakisaki, and that Mikey went into a deep depression and ultimately made Toman evil, like in the original timeline. But this time, he finds out why exactly Mikey was turned evil, and that's because his good friend Baji dies. So, what does our character Takemichi do? The most rational thing a normal person would be. He goes back to the future. He goes back into the past, guys. So, in the past, he makes the goal of his to become the leader of Toman. Now, we all know that's a big goal. It's many people in front of him. But with his determination, I'm sure he could have done it. After the fall of Mobius, the leader, Hanma, takes it upon himself to form with the rival gang to make one of the biggest biker gangs in all of Tokyo. And the name is Valhalla. Now, we see in the Toman meeting to address Valhalla, a member of the First Division, actually the First Division captain, Baji, isn't very happy with where Toman is heading. So, he does the most rational thing in his mind, goes and joins Valhalla after leaving Toman. Now, Mikey tells our MC, Takemichi, that if he doesn't get Baji back from Valhalla before the conflict happens, then Mikey's gonna kill Takemichi. Knowing Mikey, if Takemichi didn't bring back Baji, he most likely actually would have killed him. And well, I'm not gonna say anything because for fear of spoilers, but that might happen later on in the story. But back to the main arc at hand. A lot of things happen in the Valhalla arc, but for fear of making this video not about Takemichi, I'm gonna stick to what he did. So, in the fight, we see that Kisaki is basically on top of Valhalla. He's the leader that's not really the leader. A fellow former member and founder of Toman he doesn't kill Baji, but he definitely does inflict a very serious wound. But Baji somehow doesn't die from the stabbage. He gets up perfectly fine to continue fighting. But after a while, he falls down to his knees. He takes the knife out of his stomach and stabs himself. Why would he do that? So that, one, his friend Kazutora wouldn't have the death charge on his hands and they could say he killed himself. And two, he didn't want to be perceived as weak. But in Baji's final minutes, what does he tell Takemichi? He tells Takemichi that he leaves Toman to him. And that only solidifies Takemichi's goal of being number one in Toman, but also thinking that he can do it now more than ever. Now, I could talk for hours about this story and Takemichi in general, but I'm going to stop myself here. A lot more things take place in that affect Takemichi's character and life, but I don't want to spoil any new readers and anime watchers, but once this anime season ends, or the series wraps up as a total, I'm going to have to do a part 2. So, what do you guys think of Tokyo Revengers? If you're an anime